Well, hello, everybody out there in the You Are Worthy Network. Happy New Year to each of you. I can't believe we're already almost a week into the new year, but I wanted to take a moment and tell each one of you Happy New Year. Hope you're having a wonderful start to 2026. I'm excited that you guys are with us for another wonderful interview that you'll either see here at some point today or over the next 30 days. But like I like to do, I get to remind you that even if you don't catch it for some reason in the next 30 days, it's always stored on our YouTube channel, You Are Worthy Network YouTube channel. I would love for you to go there and like and subscribe to that channel. But even more importantly, that's where all our wonderful guests and their interviews and their stories are housed. So don't forget that. Um, I'm excited for the new year. I hope you guys are too. Last time I checked, our Lord does not need calendars where he sits. But as human beings down here on earth, we sure need fresh starts sometimes, don't we? We need to turn the page, turn the chapter, turn the year, and that's what a new year gives us is a fresh slate. And so, I was talking to somebody at the gym this morning, and I know this guy fairly well, and he told me he was going to slack off the last couple of weeks. He's pretty consistent. I give him credit. He's a little older than me, and he's very consistent. And he told me, "You're not going to see me very much, if at all, the next 2 weeks." And I was trying to nudge him on because I'm a push through kind of guy, and I was going to do 3-4 times a week, even during those 2 weeks of the holiday. And so I saw him today, and he was like, "You still came in, didn't you?" I said, "Yeah, I got 4 in the last 2 weeks." And but it led to this conversation, and I'll get off of this in just a second. I usually don't go this long at the beginning, but it led to this conversation about I think it's Atomic Habits, where I read this a few years ago, that if you just improve 1% every day of the year, look at the growth of that. Almost 400% growth, 365% by the last day of the year. That's remarkable. So I hope you're off to a great start of the year, and whatever dreams, goals, resolutions you have, that you're just improving 1% every day. Okay, enough about that. Um, I am excited to introduce you to our guest today. And I did not have her, well, I did have her bio pulled up, but it timed out on me. So let me pull it back up here. I think you're going to like Nikki quite a bit. I've learned in just a couple of Zoom calls that she's very warm and friendly, but I'll let you get that impression for yourself here in just a second. Okay, Nikki Gangemi, excuse me, I said it wrong. I said I wasn't going to say it wrong. Nikki Gangemi is a board certified NLP practitioner, life and success coach, hypnotherapist, speaker, trainer, and author. Nikki helps high achieving professionals and business owners overcome self doubt and overthinking so that they can make more money, have better relationships, and create a life that actually feels as good as it looks. I'm intrigued. Nikki, sorry for getting your name wrong there at the
It's
beginning.
okay.
Nikki, it's so good to have you with us here on the network. Welcome.
Thank you, Steve. All good. I'm excited to be here today.
Told Nikki, I even asked her before we started, pronounce her name, and then I still butchered it. But anyway, we'll move on past that.
Ah.
Um, Nikki, tell us what part, one of the great things about the network is there's viewers now watching eventually all around the world. And so most of my interviews, I'd have to think about that for a minute. I think all of them may have been, no, they have not all been in the United States. But regardless, people are watching from all over the world. So I never want people to assume that my guests are all in the US. You happen to be. Tell us where you're from.
I am from and currently reside in New Jersey.
New Jersey, for you folks
Mhm.
that don't know geography of the United States, she's up there, way up there in the northeast, east,
Yes.
where it's probably frigid today.
It
How
is
is the weather
freezing.
today?
It is freezing, and the snow is melting, but it's still very cold outside.
Oh my goodness. See, the
Yeah.
fact that you have snow, yeah, no, we get to after 7 years in the Midwest, it was like I was very grateful to come back to the South where we only see it maybe once a year, and it's maybe even
Oh,
gone the same day that it snows.
nice. I would welcome that because I don't mind if I'm home and it's just a pretty dusting and everything looks pretty. But when you have plans and they get canceled because of the snow, or you have to spend a half hour digging out your car, then it's not so fun.
No, 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 no. I get
Mhm.
it. So what do you do for fun in New Jersey?
Oh, what do I do for fun? Well, I love the beach. So, springtime, summertime, that is a fun activity to do. I just find it so relaxing not to be in the water. So, I don't go in the ocean, but I like to sit on the beach, look at the ocean, smell the ocean, read a book, go for a walk. Just, it's so peaceful. Another thing I do for fun is karaoke, love to sing, and dancing. Yeah.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
not sure I knew all of that. So this is good. You've given me a couple places to go. Now, how far away from the actual beach are you from where you live?
I could be to a beach in about 10 minutes. I don't usually
No.
go to that beach, but about, yeah, 10 minutes away. There's so many around where I live.
How nice. And I don't know, like I'm used to the beach, in Florida, Gulf Shores, Alabama, that kind of area.
Oh,
So where you're at, I know it's swimmable, but how
it is.
cold is the water? Even in like say July and August, how cold is the water?
It's pretty cold. I mean, I'll feel it. I would probably say it's in maybe 68, 70 degrees, but I don't go in not because it's not clean, but because I'm afraid of the fish, honestly, and sharks, of course. So I'll go in and I'll just go in up to my knees and I'll just kind of wet myself like this if it's really hot, but otherwise, I'm happy to look at the ocean. They do a polar bear plunge in February here, and the water it's really cold. I would say, I don't know, maybe in the 50s, and people they jump and run in and plunge for a good cause. So they're brave.
I respect it, but I'm not going to join them in
Nope,
that.
no way.
Now, I am intrigued though. So, were you always that way about the water, or is that developed as you've gotten older
That
about the,
is
the fish and the
developed.
sharks?
Yeah, so this is it's a little vulnerable, but I used to be very naive. So much so that when I was younger, I believed that the fish were all the way out by the boats. And so long as I took my little boogie board and it was before the boats were, there were no fish. Around maybe 13, I realized that was a lie. There were fish as soon as you step foot in the water. So around 13, I stopped going out there.
See, I think you're wiser than me.
Oh, yeah?
And I don't know if it's because I didn't know or I didn't care in my youth. Like I used to go, and I don't want to be dramatic with it, but I went way out. And
Yeah.
I mean I'm talking about way beyond the sand barge. And I mean where you could feel the water get colder. It was kind of
Mhm.
eerie.
It
But I
is.
didn't think it was eerie at the time. We're talking like 14 to 17 years old, and I would body surf all the way in and swim way all the way back out there. I like beyond the barge. I know
Oh.
now how silly that was, and I know how protected I was. But yeah, the fish and all that, it just didn't. Yeah, but now as I've gotten older, I'm like, yeah, when I go with my kids and stuff, I do like to still get in, but like I'm out maybe 10, 15 yards at the most,
Mm.
which I know they could still be there too.
Oh,
But
yeah. They can, especially in those warm, like Florida waters. Yeah.
which is where we like to go to. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it, but I'm not in there long, that's for sure.
Right. I might clear that fear one day though, because it does hold me back. I mean, there's, people who they want to go out on the boat, they want to do what is it, kayaking or jet skiing, and I won't do it because of that fear. So it does kind of prevent me from maybe having more fun. We'll
Yeah,
see.
well,
I'll get
the
back
rip.
to you on that if I decide to let go of that fear.
And next time at the beach, I'll take pictures of the ocean, or my feet, and I'll send them to you. It's
Yeah,
okay, it's safe.
it's safe. You're safe.
Right. And you're like, yes, I am in my house in New Jersey. I am
That's
safe.
right. That's right. Pleasantly planted
Uh,
on the sand with a book.
right, right. So I'm interested. Okay, you said kayaking, you said karaoke. Are those just hobbies, or was what?
Karaoke. Yeah, karaoke is more just for fun. I have my best friend, she is karaoke obsessed. And every time she even hosts a dinner at her house, the karaoke machine, it's always there. She wants to sing. So it's more in a casual setting, or you go out somewhere and it happens to be karaoke night. I will get up there and sing. And I prefer to do duets. So I will go around the bar and find a guy who's willing to sing Summer Nights with me or Picture. Those are my two favorite, my go-to karaoke songs.
We're talking about Summer Nights from Greece, right?
Yes. It's a
Okay,
fun
okay,
one.
okay. I
Yeah.
got you.
Little old school, but I'm a little old school.
Yeah, well, I knew what you were talking about, so there's.
Oh.
Yes, indeed.
hmm
I'm interested in, so take us back to, let's say, 18, 19 years old. What were you doing? Were you in college? Were you doing something else? Most 18, 19-year olds, well, I shouldn't speak for everybody, but my experience has been most 18, 19-year olds are just full of dreams, full of ready to conquer the world, some anxiety, some fears for sure. But if you could take us back to 18, 19, what is it you really wanted to do? What lit you up?
Acting. And I was in college, except I was told I couldn't major in theater because you got to, pick something you could really make money at. So I was in college, I was a public communications major, and I took all the elective classes in acting, acting for TV, stage. I did all the theater productions during those years, community theater. That was what I did for fun.
Okay. And
Mhm.
so you get your degree,
Got my
and
degree.
did you go for that, or did something
I
change?
did. So I got my degree. I was 20, well, I was 21 when I got my degree. I graduated. 2 years later, and I was still doing it as a hobby for fun. I took some acting classes. I did the community theater. And then at 23, my boyfriend at the time broke up with me. We were together 5 years. It was my first relationship. And I didn't know who I was without him. I was like, oh my God, we spend 7 days a week together. I was like, now's the time to pursue the acting career. And that drove me to leave New Jersey, have my car shipped. I got on a plane, found an apartment out there, and I moved to LA at 23 to really give it a go. But I only gave myself 1 year to make it. I didn't make it. I came back home on a plane at 24 years
Wow.
old, but it was the best year of my life, and it's the only year I would want to relive. It's so much fun. It was so
Wow.
much growth. I mean, I'm the oldest of four, and I came from a very sheltered upbringing, lots of rules. It was the first time I ever had to do things on my own, like food shop and cook. And, it was so eye-opening for me. So I feel like that was the year that I really expanded myself. There came a point where I was in a position where I had to speak up for myself. in an almost confrontation. I was so used to having other people with me. And this was the first time I was on my own. And I thought, wow, if I don't speak up, there's nobody here that's going to speak up for me. So just growth on so many levels that year.
It's a fascinating story. So
Yeah.
I want to go back a half a step. So I would imagine a variety of emotions moving out there because you're young,
Yeah.
you're excited, the prospects of what could happen out in LA. But you're also very emotional on the heels of a breakup, right?
Yes.
Or
Well,
or was that good? Like I'm out of
it was a
here.
distraction because everything was so new. It almost forced me to forget about him because now I had a had a roommate. I had to get to know her, get along with her. I had to pay all these bills. I worked multiple jobs. So I was so busy and everything was so new. I mean, talk about being outside of your comfort zones. It helped me to get over him, actually.
Yeah, yeah, you had to quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I was so, yeah, I mean, I worked for different catering companies. I did some waitressing, uh, and I was looking for acting jobs as well. So it was just always busy and and fun. I will say it was a lot of fun.
I'm curious why you only gave yourself 1 year. Was that a financial decision or more goes into it than
No,
that?
it wasn't a financial decision. Couple of things. I would have had to find a new place to live because me and the roommate, we just didn't click. And she was going to be moving out. And I felt that on top of that, I really missed home. I mean, I'm a different person today. I'm very independent. Back then, like I said, I was very sheltered. I was just like, you know what? I miss home. I miss New Jersey. I miss my family. Uh, it just was easier to go home.
Mm,
Hmm.
okay, so you've had 1 year that the experiences have lasted
Yeah.
a lifetime. You move back to New Jersey. Now what?
I moved back to New Jersey and I left this out, and this is very important. I also looked to prove myself right. And I looked for all the reasons why this wouldn't work. Despite
Mm,
all the opportunity that I had, I thought to myself, this isn't going to work. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'll never make it. And then coupled with it's easier to just give up and go back home than almost start all over again, having to find a new place to live. And yeah, I went back. Regretted it for a long time, but when I came,
uh,
yeah,
yeah, no, I see why you took us back to insert that because that's going to show up, I'm sure, as we
yeah,
continue to talk. Um, did the thought go through your mind with that mindset that you just described?
yeah.
You're flying back or driving back?
I flew back and had my car shipped back.
Okay, so
Mhm.
on that airplane back or shortly after, did the border bullies, I like to call them the border bullies, in your mind say, "I told you so. I told you that it wasn't going to work out."
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I said, I used to look for evidence for why things wouldn't work out. There was this one, and let me tell you, Steve, things came to me so easily. So there was so much alignment. For example, it takes, it's not easy to become SAG eligible. Most people work a long time to collect those three vouchers that you need. I got the three vouchers in 3 days because of a connection. I showed up to the set of City of Angels as an extra, and each day I was handed a voucher. I mean, that's how easy things came to me. The introductions I had, I was meeting producers and directors, big name in Hollywood because of the connections I had. And my cousin, who opened up these opportunities for me because he works in the industry, he said, Nikki, give this 5 years. You need to build relationships. You need to nurture these connections. Don't go home after 1 year. but I was looking for all the reasons why I should go home. And one day on the set of City of Angels, you do a lot of sitting around waiting when you're an extra, waiting to walk across a scene. And this guy said to me, if acting isn't the air that you breathe, then go home. Because there's people by the busload coming in every day who want it so much more, and you just won't survive out here. And I took it literally and said, well, this is not the air that I breathe. Maybe I don't want this as much as I think that I want it or as much as I need to want it. Another reason to go back home. But that was on me because that was what I made it mean.
But you don't have regrets today about that, do you?
Not today because of it led me to what I'm doing today. I did after, I'll tell you, I did for about 15 years because then I settled into becoming an elementary school teacher and I was unhappy. So I
Hmm.
did regret it for quite a number of years until I found my own path.
Okay, this gets more fascinating. Okay, so this daring young girl, young lady, it's a script right out of a movie, right? She flies to LA from the East Coast, going to pursue her dream. She's dealing with all the fears and anxieties and mindset challenges that go with it, and you fly back a year later. Um, where do you become a school teacher? How did that happen?
I know. Well, like I flew back home and I went back to my waitressing job and I was waitressing at a tavern. And then I got a job as like an administrative assistant for a marketing company. And they let me go after a couple of months because I didn't have the skills that I needed. Meanwhile, my best friend says to me, there's something called the alternate route. We could take the state exam, get our license, get hired, and go to school while on the job. And that's what something she
Mm.
wanted to do. I said, nope, I don't want to be a teacher, not interested. She kept asking. And finally, I was like, looking at I didn't want to keep waitressing. I lost that job as an administrative assistant. So I'm like, well, all right, why not? I'll try it. I pass the test. She fails. I become a teacher. She doesn't. And then I blamed her. Look what you did. Now I'm a teacher. We were supposed to do this together.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but again, I was the one that chose to stay. I got up every day. I showed up for 15 years. So,
Well, okay. So was that mostly security, or did you actually like it at one time?
no, it was I didn't know what else to do. Like I said, I had that public communications degree. I didn't know what to do with it. And so, and my family too, they were like, oh, all your cousins are teachers. You come from a family of teachers. It's a rewarding career. It's stable. You have the pension, you have the benefits. And I was like, no, 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 until I said yes. So, yeah, it was more for stability and certainty, but I felt like a square peg in a round hole. And as the years went by and as I was getting older and I started to approach the big 4-0, I was like, wait a second. I was told that if I went the certainty and stability route and I got the master's degree and the condo, I'd get a husband, kids, and a white picket fence. Where are they?
Mm.
So that lit a fire in me. And I thought to myself, well, what if another 10 years goes by and now I'm 50 and I'm still doing the same thing and I'm by myself? I need to be take charge of my own life. No more blaming. And that's when I decided that I would resign from the teaching job and build this business.
Okay, I feel like there's another story coming.
There
So
is.
I'm assuming you didn't resign without you were already starting to build something or
I
having a vision for
was.
something. So,
Yes. Thank you. I did skip. That's another big part I skipped. About 12 years in to my teaching career, I ran into a coworker in the parking lot of a coffee shop. And we just started talking, and I was complaining again. And he said, Nikki, instead of complaining, why don't you just bloom where you're planted? Had no idea what that meant, but I had a visceral reaction to his words, so I knew it was important. So I put it on the back burner and I just kept doing my thing. A couple of months later, I was doing online dating, looking for my husband, and I meet the guy of my dreams. I meet him on Plenty of Fish. I think he's the guy. He was just perfect. And turns out he was just a very short reason, a short season and a reason why we came together. He had said to me when we were talking one day, I was sharing some ideas. He goes, "You don't wait for opportunity to come your way. You pave the way. If you want to speak, speak in your living room. Do it, get it out there." And then Bloom Where You're Planted came back up to my mind. And that's how Mindful Matters was born. I recognized that I was teaching in a district, that I was a student in myself. And I saw over the years that the bullying was still happening, the exclusion, the peer pressure, all the things that I went through and let stunt me. It was still happening, but it was all about education and the standards and testing. And I said, you know what? I can help them. I can help them manage their thoughts and their emotions. I'll create this Mindful Matters program and help them do that. So I pitched the idea to the principal. He loved it. And I piloted the program. And then that was when I got lit up again, like when I was acting. And I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do, help people get out of their own way. Because I had been in my way for so many years.
Hey, I love where this is going. So Mindful Matters was a program, but
Hmm.
it's also your LLC, right?
Yeah, originally it was a program. I did go ahead and make it an LLC immediately back in 2016.
Smart.
Yeah, I said, you know what? Let me just do this. I don't have to wait for all my ducks to be in a row. I'm just going to do it. And not knowing I would leave my job, but then that was 2016. It was 2019 that I resigned. So it was another couple of years. The district, after 1 year, did shut down the program and said, you can't do this anymore. And I was like, oh no, like I just was so lit up. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not going to give up so easily like I did way back when in California. What else
Mm.
could this look like? And that's where I attracted a business coach, learned that there was such thing as a coaching industry. And I said, I just started following the trail. I hosted my first summit back in 2017. I built an email list. Then I went and got my coaching certifications and did that for 2 years on the side and then left the job in 2019. It was that 40, that number. I said, it is time for the second act of my life to be my way.
Yeah, clearly you developed some tenacity and some non-negotiables along the way, would you
Yes,
say?
yes. After years of
I
tolerating, yes.
yeah, yeah. And you know what? I think that for growing older, I think that happens to a lot of us. Like, you
Yeah,
recognize, you know what? Wherever we're at on that journey, you know, time is not our friend, and we
right.
need to make the most of our hyphen that we can.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so interested in um I'm sure it's hard to narrow this down, but let's do this. You have your dream day planned, and from the time you wake up to whatever morning routines you have to your favorite kind of client that you like to help,
Mhm.
tell us what that day would look like.
Oh, well, that day would look like me getting up at 8 a.m. I would love to sleep in a little bit. Do my morning routine, which consists of meditation, sometimes a little bit of journaling, a little bit of self-hypnosis. I just, do the inner work myself in the morning. And then I would like to start at 10 a.m. seeing clients. Have a few sessions, help people shift and transform, And then I would like to go to the gym and then come back home and have a delicious dinner.
Okay.
Hmm.
And those clients that you serve during this ideal day, um, how have you specifically helped them and why are they your, because this is your day.
Hmm.
What specifically about them makes them your favorite client, so to speak?
What I love in a client is those clients who are open and coachable. They want the change, they're willing to think outside of the box, and they're willing to think differently. They're willing to play. Like I tell my clients, consider this like, you go to the gym and you do your physical fitness. This is mental fitness. This is exercise for the mind, and we're going to have fun doing it. So when clients easily just engage in different techniques with me, it just makes it so much more fun than when there's some like resistance and hesitation. So that is, I would say their openness, their being coachable, and their willingness to play, so that they can make that shift or that transformation.
I love that part. I love it all, but that part about the playfulness really intrigues me. You and I have talked a little bit.
Hmm.
Like I had a business coach for about 9 months that was heavy, which I mean that in the most complimentary way, heavy on the mindset, and I
Hmm.
definitely needed it. So I've been working on the mindset space, and I know it's a lifelong thing. So I'm kind of like a kid in a candy store still, like on mindset and playfulness. I've not heard that term specifically in that
Hmm.
area. I have heard things such as balance, more hobbies, more fun. I have heard more fun, so maybe it is in there. But I'm interested, and you don't have to tell us too much, but can you give us a little taste of what playfulness will look like when you're working on
Sure.
mindset?
Yes, sure. So oftentimes what people say that they want, whether it's a goal, or just something that they're working towards, they have a very different representation of that in their mind. For example, somebody could have the goal of um, attracting their perfect partner, but in their mind, they only see themselves alone and by themselves. So there's that incongruence or that
Mm.
mismatch. Yeah. So what I find out is how are you representing that goal in your mind? And this is where the play comes in. And like I said, it's usually not what they say that they want. So we'll play with that image in that sense. So it's like, okay, so, what is it that you do want? Let's turn up the dial on the color. Let's make it more colorful. Let's bring it closer and see if that makes it more compelling to you. I just moving things around in the mind, how they represent, so that how what they say they want matches how they see it, hear it, and feel it, and there's congruence. And that's where they start attracting the things that they want.
Like that. So it's painting a different picture, and I'm sure in that interaction, you come up against those what I remember I called it border bullies.
Yeah,
Because if you haven't had a new way of thinking introduced, you're gonna is always resort back to what you know,
right.
even if that hasn't served you well. There's a protection in it, or you think there's a protection in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love that. One of the
Yeah.
things I love that I was taught was the power of even those statements. You know, even though my situation right now has
Mm-hmm.
this reality, it's not forever, and this situation that I've been praying about, working towards, um, is going to come to fruition. So it doesn't deny the reality of the
Right.
current situation, but it ends it with a positive or hopeful thought. And I
Right.
think there's so much power in that. I was
There
like,
is.
it's so simple, but it's powerful.
It's so powerful. And the even though acknowledges where you're at, which is so important too. To even though this, like I'm acknowledging it, and then you shift your focus to what you do want. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's an
Yeah.
idea. And words are so powerful. So I'll invite them to, they say, a common thing is when I work with people in all different areas of life, but if it happens to be a health or a fitness area of life, it's common for people to say, I want to lose 20 pounds. It's like, well, when you think about lose, how does that make you feel? What do you see, hear, and feel? What if we were to reframe lose to
Mm.
release or donate? Because when we donate something, we do not want it back. It's like,
That's good.
goodbye. So those that are willing to, okay, yeah, I like how that feels. It just makes, naturally, people don't like change. And it can feel hard, it can feel scary. So if we can keep a lightness about it, it just keeps people more open to shifting.
Yeah. I donate the weight. I love that.
Donate it.
I've been doing that the last month, by the way, and yes, right. It's wherever it went, it can stay there.
That's right.
It's so
It's a different energy. When we lose something, we are inclined to want to find it. So you get that, lose the weight, gain the weight, lose the weight, gain the weight. Lose it, find it,
exactly.
lose it, find it.
No, it's I don't want to ever find it again. Yes.
That's right. So we donate it.
I like that. That is so
Words are
good.
powerful.
I'm gonna remember that for sure. Um, so have you written one book or more than one book?
More than one. My first book was a children's book that was back in 2018 when I was teaching. I wrote My Gracie, and I wrote it based on my own story. And I wanted to change how people talk about bullying because it's so
Mm,
disempowering. I let it disempower me for many years. So I wanted to tell it through an empowerment lens. So the story helps to reframe bullying and helps them to find their courage and happiness and everything inside of them so that they can stand strong in who they are. So that was the children's book that came out. And then in 2022, I took my calm method, which I had created, and I turned it into a book, The Calm Method, and it's the inner game to achieving the results you want. And in between those two books, I was a part of two book collaborations where I have a chapter in each of the books. Those two are bestsellers.
nice, nice. Is there a new book you think taking form inside you now, or maybe not right away?
Maybe not right away. There is something that I actually started a Google Doc. I'm all about like just get started. So a while back, I had started a Google Doc with some thoughts that I wanted to create this book around. But it is on the back burner for now.
Okay, okay.
Hmm.
Tell us about a time. And I don't know if this was going back to the breakup with the boyfriend all those years ago, or tell us about another time where you didn't feel so worthy in your life.
Yeah, I'll go back to earlier before him. I'll go back to seventh grade sewing class. We used to have
Hmm.
these cycles where we'd have cooking class for so many weeks and then sewing class. I'm really dating myself. Sewing class. And we're sitting in groups. We sat in like a cluster of five. And we're sewing, making my little whatever. And I was asking my friend, when she wanted to hang out next. And, she just kept saying, oh, I can't or whatever. And I had asked a few times. And then she wasn't really kind of responding to me. And the other girl at the table said, what don't you get? She doesn't want to be friends with you. And I was so
Hmm.
embarrassed because we were sitting in this group and I just went quiet and I just felt horrible inside. Like she doesn't want to be my friend. What's wrong with me? What did I do? So that was an impactful moment for me where I didn't feel worthy. And it impacted me because even to this day, I have to remind myself, I don't really make plans with people. My friends come to me. I feel like if you want to hang out with me, you'll reach out. I've been, working at being better at that. But do you see how something can happen and it can shape you, how you show up if you let it, like I did.
Oh yeah, I mean it's traumatic at that age, and we're taught as a society to kind of dust ourselves off, pick ourselves up by the bootstraps, or don't even talk about it at all, right?
Yeah.
And next thing you're still holding on to that, and it's subtle in the way we think, and it's even probably more subtle in how it affects our decision making.
Mm-hmm.
And so I appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that because, seventh grade is what, 12, 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
What boy or girl, 12, 13 years old, wants to hear somebody doesn't want to be our friend because we're so at an impressionable age.
Yeah.
We want everybody to be our friend. And so yeah, that I appreciate you sharing that. I think a lot of people can
Yeah.
relate to that. Um, what's next? What's coming down the pike that you can share with us? That's exciting.
Yeah, well, I'm excited about a couple of collaborations that I have going on. I am collaborating with two others. We are putting together this Beyond Limits experience where we help people to achieve one goal that they have worked towards and they just have not achieved it yet. So, using AI visioning and neuroscience and belief rewiring, we're putting this all together to create the ultimate experience to help someone achieve a goal. And that is coming up next week, the program.
So I take it that's a virtual experience?
It's a virtual experience.
Okay.
Yeah, so you get three coaches. We have, the first phase is private one-on-one with each of us, and then we go into a group container where you have the accountability, the momentum, the support. So it's been a lot of fun. We did our beta group the last few months, and now we're launching it uh, on what the calendar calls Quitter's Day, January 9th. If you Google it, it's named Quitter's Day when most people abandon their goals. So we're launching this goals experience on that day. So I'm excited about that. And then I have another collaboration with someone who has a training institute for people who want to become NLP practitioners, and I'm going to be on board as one of her trainers. So I'll have the opportunity several times a year to go out to Atlanta and train other practitioners who want to do this transformational work in the world.
Oh my goodness, exciting things happening for you.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
by the way, as Atlanta is further south. You're getting close to tolerable temperatures of the water. Come on down to the Gulf and to further down to the Atlantic. But anyway, that's another story. No, I'm super excited for you. Those opportunities sound amazing. I just really want to thank you for being with us today. You've shared some fascinating stories. I think your story, the processes that you've been through, and the wisdom that you've gained along the way, they've come out today. And so I just really want to thank you for sharing your heart and your wisdom with us today. And having said that, I love that so many people are going to get to see this, and a lot of people in your network will get to see it too. Any words of wisdom and encouragement you would like to leave them with today?
Yes. I want to say that you don't need to look any further than yourself. When it comes to love and happiness, it's really all inside of you. And to start looking to yourself for that validation because it's an internal job. When we look to people outside of us, like I did all those years for that validation, it always wavers. I'm good enough, I'm accepted, I'm not worthy. And it's not a good place to live from. So if you just decide that I validate me, then you will always stand in your worthiness.
I validate me. You will always stand in your worthiness. I love that message.
Mm.
I love that message. Nikki, this has been fascinating. Thank you so much for being with us today. Really, really, it's been an honor.
Thank you for having me, Steve. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Of course. Guys, I hope you heard yet another example in Nikki's story that her story was not done at 24. It was not done at 40, and it's not done now. You heard all the exciting things coming up. It's amazing if we persevere, if we learn the lessons we need to learn, that God is not done with our stories yet. So I want you guys to be encouraged by that. I don't even know if you guys know this, but the subtitle of our group, the You Are Worthy Network, is Your Story's Not Over Yet. If you click on the banner, that's actually at the bottom. Your story's not over yet. So be encouraged and know this is the first time I get to say this year. First of many times, hopefully. You are worthy of love, respect, and success. I appreciate each one of you. Guys, have a terrific rest of your day and have a great week. Talk to you soon. Take care.